Hello everyone, I'm Jacob Silverblade. Welcome back. Today I've got a video for you because, yeah, the Imperial Guard are getting released. And beforehand, I was very hyped. I was, like, I really wanted to get the Imperial Guard, get the premium campaign, all that stuff, you know, put the money into it. You get a good collection early and really start playing this, and this being much more my control faction, because I don't just play aggro all the time, believe it or not, and I quite like playing control actually. That's why I played Jagatai in Legions a lot. It's always my favorite lord. But yeah, this Imperial Guard release is not going to be fun, and there's a couple of things when I go over the broken cards which I think need nerfing straight away, cards which I think we need to be very concerned about, which will potentially need nerfs in the future, but they're overshadowed by these absolutely broken cards. Like, I really want to get this out there that this faction is an S+ tier or S++. Like, it's one of the two. There's no debate, and that's just me really hoping there's only S+, and it is actually a counterplay, because you got S tier, which is a broken faction, but it's still beatable, so you can play other factions against it, and you're not gonna need to tailor it yet. Your S+ faction, which Imperial Guard definitely are, at least, and which means the only matchups where you have a chance of winning is a counter matchup. I'm not saying you're going to win, I'm just saying that it's a counter matchup. This is how good Imperial Guard decks be. This is how powerful they will be. No, that'd be such a problem. The only thing you're gonna see is Imperial Guard and counter matchups. Or the S++ tier, which means that even the counter matchups don't have a chance of winning, like they just don't, and the Imperial Guard will just be the only playable faction. It's either one or the other. There's no doubt about it. They are fundamentally a broken faction with broken mechanics, broken abilities. It's gonna be worse than the Predator meta. It has the abilities. Let me go to the thing. Here we are. It has the broken abilities of what was rapid redeployment with the Predator and Junif, doing both at the same time. It's doing Junif, but doing Junif better, and it's gonna be doing Predator, but doing Predator better. This is what the Imperial Guard do right now, as it stands. I haven't played with the cards because it's not even released yet. How could I? Trust me, the Imperial Guard are a broken faction. They're gonna break the game, and everything's going to be Imperial Guard, and probably just Imperial Guard. You're probably not going to see the counter matchup, and the only counter matchup I think which is actually adequate is Orcs, just because they have no mucking about and Will of Gork, so no mucking about to be able to deal with that early game stuff. Will of Gork, maybe you could play Swarmlord, just because, thank goodness that these guys have 3 HP, so you can kill every single one they deploy with the Swarmlord, and maybe get some early aggro going against them with Ravenous Hunger and whatnot, chewing through them and then defeating the Emily Warlord before the Imperial Guard get going. So yeah, they're a problem. They're not fun. They're not going to be fun unless you're playing with them, of course. And I hope the Timmies and the Whales enjoy this season, because those are me and the ultra competitive players, because I don't see how you play against this right now as a reasonable player in this game with the Imperial Guard. I really don't. And it's, well, we're gonna see how it goes, really. Yeah, so please let everyone know that the Imperial Guard are broken. Let them see this video, let them know why they're broken. When I get into it, when I get into the 8 cards which I think need nerfing straight away. If I had a choice over this, I'd pre-nerf them. I'd nerf them before they even get into release. that's what I'll do, and that's because I am 100% confident that this is going to break the game. I wouldn't be saying this if I wasn't 100% confident, so please let everyone know. Yep, let's get into it. So, what needs changing? First things first is Ursula Creed, and it was first on the list because it was the Warlord. Now it's going to go into stratagems, then units, and yeah, Ursula Creed is the first. If I had to only change one thing, I would change Ursula Creed and what she does, because I mean, like, you see right here, duty to deploy a shock trooper. I don't really care about that, of course. It's her talent. The talent is the broken part. Legendary commandant. Yeah, I hate this Warlord. It's gonna break the game, I'm promising you. It's gonna guarantee certain things which weren't gonna be guarantees before. It's gonna make plays which weren't gonna be able to be made before. And it's with some other broken cards, yes, I admit, but she just takes the broken cards to a whole new level, because you can just duplicate them, you can do them over again, you can just get things way earlier. And yeah, we should really probably get into it. What is her talent? And of course, legendary commandment. Choose an Astra Militarum stratagem and add it to your hand. Lower its cost by 1. This is a broken stratagem. I don't know why they haven't learned this yet. Like, I've played HHL, Horus Heresy Legions. I've played it a lot. It was a very fun game. Was being the key word. There are so many broken, stupid things going on in that game, and it's not fun anymore. Look, this faction is appropriate for like HHL, not for this game. It's not. It's not gonna be fun. It's just gonna ruin the entire meta, and it's like, yeah. So what this does is, of course, you get stratagems for free, which means, and they cost cheaper. So, well, not for free, you have to spend 2 energy on it, but they cost cheaper, which is a problem, because you can now play things at 3 energy, which are 4 energy, and you can start playing things ahead, and then also play the broken card on top of that. So we're getting to some of those broken stratagems that you can duplicate. But it means that because of this talent, and fundamentally how it works right now, as it is, what we're going to see is, we're going to see well, that's what I mean. It's like, we're going to see Ursula Creed able to go as wide as Junith and as tall as the Predator meta at the same time. They are going to be that powerful. It's just going to do it as quickly. You're going to see the big tanks as quickly as Predator came out, and you're going to see Ursula Creed going as wide as Junith ever could, or actually beyond, because she's going to start doing it for free. This is a broken thing. The only way this card isn't broken is if you have stratagems which aren't broken, and the entire faction is balanced around having this talent. That's the only way you make a talent like this not broken. Like Magnus's talent from the Gene Stealer cults is a broken talent. It's create a troop which costs 1 less. Creating a stratagem though is worse, because it's been, these stratagems in this game definitely are the sort of like tempo changes / game changes, just game defining like ways to really change a game. Just creating a unit often doesn't change a game. I mean, like, it's not quite Magnus because they can generate that 5 energy troop, but this is a broken mechanic. It should be choose an Astra Militarum stratagem and add it to your hand. It shouldn't even be a consideration to lower its cost by 1. That should just be off the table. It shouldn't be doing that. Why is it doing that? It shouldn't be a thing. You then got some of the broken stratagems we're not getting to, which need nerfs. I think
there's certainly, we'll get into it, but Cadia stands. That is a must need to nerf stratagem. And I'll talk about ways that's been to be changed. I don't think it needs the, like, it can only make legendary tag. Like, there's a couple of things you can do to change this to make it balanced, I suppose. You can make it so that it makes a random stratagem, which is not what I want, because it can still accidentally get you the broken gameplay. It's not going to be guaranteed and often, because this guarantees broken gameplay. That's the problem with it. Because it costs less, and then you're getting it for free, and it just enables broken combos, which you wouldn't be able to do before without this talent. It's why you're never gonna see Lord Leontus. I'm sorry, you're never gonna see this guy. He's not gonna be playable. You might, just because of one particular thing he can do, but really it's gonna be Ursula Creed every single time, and without question it is the broken warlord for this faction. So if it made random, it could still do just the random plays if it still costs one less. So the only thing I could think of is make random and not cost one less, but then it's actually quite a weak warlord talent at this point. But so it can't be, it's the -1 cost is the fundamental problem here. That needs a nerf. And then we also need to potentially consider not making legendary stratagems again. There's several legendary stratagems that are really good. I want them to be good. However, they do make fundamental problems. For example, Cadia stands, and we don't want to see that at the end of the day. So we don't want to see legendary commandment. That won't be fun. This needs to change. It at least needs to be nerfed without the energy cost. Maybe even no legendary duplication either. We do not want to see this -1 cost. I mean, like, even if it couldn't make any of the legendary stratagems, it still will be broken. It still will be the most powerful warlord in the game. It does mean that you probably can't do the Junith. Well, yeah, you probably can't do the Junith and also Predator at the same time, because as it stands, you can absolutely do both. You can absolutely go wide and have your big tank. This is a thing. Because, like, how they try to balance this faction is around not having the cards to make the plays, but this just generates you new cards. Like, it doesn't even draw you cards, it just generates you new cards. So not having the cards, who cares? I'm just gonna make more later. So yeah, it's a fundamentally broken card. There's no doubt about it. And yeah, it needs a change. So the next things on the list is if we go to over here, we go to full throttle. Now, part of this is, of course, you have to consider, what's her name? Forgot her name already. Creed. Ursula Creed. You have to always consider Ursula when it comes to every single broken stratagem I'm showing you right now. If they nerf just Ursula, I mean, like, the Imperial Guard, certainly, I don't think there will be an S++ faction if they just made that one change to Ursula. And then I'm not talking about the legendary change, it's the -1 cost reduction change. That needs to go. Magnus's ability needs to go. It's the only reason why it's an S tier in the first place, and it needs enough. But this is on a whole new level, another level, so this is why I'm talking about this, not Magnus right now. So always consider every single stratagem I show you, which I consider to be broken or near broken, that Ursula takes that to a whole new level. So full throttle, 1 energy, your next vehicle you play this turn costs 2 less. Great. You have 2 of these in your hand. You now spend 2 energy, it costs 4 less. So on a 3 energy turn, you can play a 5 energy card. Brilliant. Now, what Ursula does, of course, is you can generate 1 of these and it'll cost 1 less. So it'll cost 0 to do something cost by 2. So what you really need to realize is that you could have 2 of these in your hand. You can have the one which is generated for free on your first turn. So when you get to your second turn, you have 3 energy. You spend 2 energy making them vehicles cost 4 less. Then you play your free one, which makes it cost 6 less. And you still have 1 energy left, which means now on 3 energy, you've just played a 7 energy card. Which I shall show you the card which you would play, most likely. It's probably your Lima Rust tank. Maybe you'll play your Valkyrie. It's something like that. Yeah, that's broken, everyone. That's not good. So, you know, even if now without the -1 cost reduction, you can still play a 6 energy card, which is not good on 3 energy. So it's still broken. You can still get this Chimera out on as a 3 energy play, which won't be fun. But you know, yeah, it's a thing, everybody. Yeah, we'll have this will exist, and yeah, that's why it's broken, because it's basically this full throttle enables what the Ultramarines did as rapid redeployment. This used to be 2 energy, but the difference with full throttle is you can choose which vehicle you want. Like, the other card says choose, yes, but you have to select out of 3. So if you have 4 vehicles in your hand, you might not get your Predator, which you would break the game with, which used to be a very, very strong card. This card, you basically get to completely decide what vehicle you want to play this with, because you'll just play the vehicle you need. Yeah, this card needs a nerf, and maybe you could make it kind of like rapid redeployment as it is now. Like, maybe 2 energy, your next vehicle you play, choose a troop in your hand, lower its cost by 1, and it'll be a 2 energy card. Maybe a 1 energy card, that might be pushing it though. So that you can, at least they would have to do it on turn 3 when Ursula creates another copy of this. So you have 3 of these in your hand. You would reduce the card cost by 3 because you choose the same vehicle every single turn. So you would choose the 7 energy, the Lehman Russ, and then on 4 energy, you would be able to play the Lehman Russ at that point. Maybe that would be fine? Question mark. 1 energy reduced cost by 1, but it might actually have to be 2 energy if you want to guarantee this play to be not absolutely broken. Yeah, so that's full throttle, because playing things which are meant to be 7 energy on 4 when they have armor 1, so any like 3 damage flanker only does 2 damage at best. You know, and then you can heal up afterwards. You know, you can still keep on getting that regiment off, you know, that sort of thing. It's such a big threat. You're guaranteed to do like probably 21 damage to the enemy wars faced if you do that combo, you know, like, unless they have hard removal. The only factions which can really do that is Orcs, because they've got no mucking about. Let's hope you can do that. If you do that against Tyranid Swarmlord, they don't stand a bloody chance. They're going to die to this. Yeah, like, what can I say? It's a fundamentally... This isn't the card which is a problem. Playing this on 7 energy is fine. But it's when you use this to play this on 3 energy, unless they have a hard removal to take it out then and there. But even if they're playing Ultramarines, so let's say you do that, you're going second, so you do that your turn energy 3, they have a turn energy 4, which they probably put Honor Guard down to tank the hit of the Lehman Russ, and then it's your turn energy 4, where you then get into another card called Cadia Stance, yep, which will be broken, and then they can hard removal this on turn 5. That's the best case scenario for the Ultramarines, and they've been prevented from going face and punching in the face to actually kill you quickly enough, which we'll get into some other cards and why killing them quickly is like your only chance of beating the Imperial Guard, if you have a chance. But yeah, full throttle, not fun. That's the change I would recommend to making that. That's the change I would recommend to making the Creed. Let's get on to the next card, and I think it is what is it called? Cadia Stance. Yep, that is the next card. Right, Cadia Stance. Of course, this is a fundamentally broken card. Getting free stuff in a game. Look, energy cheats is just playing stuff which would normally cost you more, but for cheaper. So that's getting free stuff in a way. Like, you're paying for part of the cost for free. That's a fundamentally broken mechanic. Imagine getting free stuff all the time, every single turn. Yeah, that's a fundamentally broken mechanic. And look, I know there's cards in the past which is like 5 energy generate a card in your hand. That isn't free stuff. That's just called more options at best. That was wasting your 5 energy turn to get like more options. This was back in HHL. There was a lot of cards which did this, and they weren't good. This, however, is straight up generate one of those cards, and it's always a Pacific card, and it always costs less, and you get it for free, and it doesn't matter, and so it's free stuff for 4 energy. Yeah, this is not good. So the other line of play, which you can go into, which is also with Ursula Creed, is that you can turn 1 generate this card, which costs 1 less. Turn 2 play the generated card, because now it's free energy, and then you can play this on turn 4, which means that now you're generating 2 guys for free every single turn. So turn energy 4, so that's your turn 3. So turn energy 5, turn energy 6, you're now just generating 2 guys a turn. Like, that's what I mean by you can get the rapid redeployment Predator meta that you got from the Ultramarines, and you can get Junith going like that at the same time. Of course, this isn't the actual ability. You get to deploy 2 for 5 faith now. At least they had to get to 5 faith. You can just do this as the Imperial Guard. That's my point. That's the entire point. You get Cadia stands, you can just generate 2 things for free every single turn, not even having to spend 2 energy on it. You just get it. And then the Imperial Guard can just go along with full throttle, and they can just get a tank for free as well. That you're getting my point. And who cares that you're using cards up and now you have no cards in your hand? Ursula Creed will generate you more cards anyway, which don't cost less. This is fundamentally the 3 broken things about this faction, which is gonna change the game to make it not fun. You're gonna go as wide as Junith, if not wider, and you're gonna play down Predators quicker than Junith is. And the worst part is that I told you about Regiment. The Lima Rust is the best tank here, because you're gonna be going wide as well, and so hence this Regiment effect is gonna be triggering multiple times as well. Maybe you get Valkyrie with that duty, just because then you can go even wider with Valkyrie. Maybe. You're getting the point. It's not good. This is not good for the game. That it is taking 2 fundamentally broken things from 2 different metas we've just gone through, and we've just found out, Everguild, that these are broken mechanics, and you've decided to put them into one faction. Why? Anyway, so those are 3 of the things which are must-need change now cards. Like, they need to change them before the Imperial Guard gets released. Like, so I forgot to say, how would I change Cadia stands? I would say it generates one of the shock troopers in your hand, and maybe it costs 1 less. Yeah, maybe. I mean, like, I'd probably do it. It costs 1 less. It generates in your hand. You then have to play it straight away. To give it a flank, it's the only way you can interact anyway, so it's probably not the biggest deal in the world. And yeah, costs 1 less. That's how I'd nerf this card. The other way to nerf this card is to make it a 5 energy card, because yes, it is worthwhile to play at 5 energy. Then with Ursula Creed, let's say on the first turn you generate 1 of these, which costs 1 less. Yes, it will absolutely still be worthwhile to play this on your 4 energy turn, then your 5 energy turn. So yes, even still, if you nerf this card and like full throttle, you still need to nerf Ursula Creed. You absolutely need to do that. It's still gonna be broken. Oh my golly. So yeah, like, either nerf this to 5 energy, or it creates it in your hand and it has maybe a cost reduction, not just getting this stuff for free for the rest of the game every single turn. It is not good design. It is just free stuff is not good. It fundamentally breaks the game and is not going to be fun. It's just going to be Imperial Guard from here on out, I guarantee you. We'll get into some of the other cards which I think need changing. The last thing is Minotaurium supplies, and this is just, it just hammers it home. It's just this broken thing. I think this will be the level 40 forge level to get to, where you have timely reinforcements. Of course, this seems to be the standard one where you get deploy shock trooper, which is the one that most people will be using, to be frankly honest. And I mean that even if you get this card, I think you'll still just use this one, because you see the Cadia stands. Why not go wide even more? Who cares? And Ursula Creed doesn't exactly help that with her duty ability, because you can go wide on the turn. When you start going wide, you can go even wider with her. And then you get Minotaurium supplies. Right. Yes. This is a broken card. It's 2 energy. Create a card. Astrometric time troop in your hand. It costs 2 less because why not? This won't be good for the game either. It needs to be at least 1 less. It's like a hive factory at the end of the day. I know you're going second, so you need something to bring it back. I get it. You need a decent counter-attack, but deploying a shock trooper is a decent counter-attack, right? This is really, really, really good counter-attack, and it's on a whole new level. Like, isn't the it is, isn't it? Like, the Genes the Occult, my golly. Hold on, I need to bring Genes the Occult up, because they've got a... let's go to page 3. They've got, like, one of these cards, I swear. Yeah, Rusted Vent. Choose a troop with ambush and crit in your hand. It costs 1 less. Now, I know that's for 0 energy, where this is 2 energy, but you don't understand. Look, your turn 1 energy play, your first turn play is often a dead play, right? This is a common thing. Your turn 1 play is a dead play. Most factions is, you know, you play your Adventurous, you use Warlord power. If you're playing Calgar, you'll draw a card. Okay, that's not the worst play in the world, but that's because his talent's really good. You're getting the point. Like, it's often you're getting nothing on tempo, you're not building up the board, you're just like sort of fixing out your mana curve of your hand to play the rest of the game, right? That's quite typical. This is a brilliant turn 1 play. I mean, it's overshadowed by the fact that maybe you have Legendary Commandment, right? That's the only thing which overshadow this. But once you've nerfed this, you need to nerf this afterwards. It needs to be cost 1 less. It really does. Or make it 0 energy, create a troop, Ashman Times troop in your hand. I think the cost 2 is just not a good thing for this game, and would need to be dealt with. Because the thing is, it's any troop. Why is it any troop? The Genes the Occult's one has the downside of it has to be backlash, so you can't get a Saboteur because it's stealth. It's not backlash. Sorry, ambush has to be ambush. This has no restriction on it. Why has it got no restriction on it? Why is it not infantry? You not put restriction on it. Maybe it can be an infantry which costs 1 less. That would be fine for 2 energy. Maybe for even 1 energy at that point. If it's a create an infantry which costs 1 less. It can't be 2 less because that's fundamentally broken. We've seen how that turns out. That's not a good idea. Like, there's other cards, counterattack cards, which need to be changed because they make things something cost 2 less, which is not good. So yeah, it's not fun, people. Look, yeah, and so that's a card we needs changing. Afterwards we got the Chimera. So let's go to that. Where's the Chimera? Blah 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 blah. I think it's over here. So yeah, there was some other 6 energies I want to talk about. We'll get into later. But let's go over to Chimera right now. This ultimately does support the Cadia stands thing, and it's not going to be fun. All your infantry have 1 armor, so that with that Cadia stands, it's a really good support for it because it's just give them 1 armor, and it's particularly the duty ability with the 7 life, because 7 life means that you can't remove it straight away. You don't want to exactly use your 5 energy hard removal if you're playing Ultramarines, for example, to remove the Chimera. No, it's so and so, but you can't exactly get a veteran Stormboy to, if you're playing Orcs, to just straight up kill this. I guess you know, use that on Warlord, but then you have to take 3 damage, and that's if there's no troops in the first place, which this doesn't give armor to protect this unit. And then afterwards, it's the duty ability to deploy 2 shock troops. Look, my personal opinion, it shouldn't have duty. That's how I change it. It's friendly units, generally infantry have 1 armor is a very powerful ability already, and it doesn't need this on top of it. So look, that's how I change it for now. It could still receive further nerfs, to be frankly honest, because it's the friendly infantry troops have armor 1 is a very powerful mechanic, and I don't think it needs it. But duty, deploy 2 shock troops, that can go away. So yeah, we have that'll hopefully help with the go wide, and I think it's fundamentally broken. It will lead to just you not being able to kill the opponent's stuff with Cadia stands particularly. got Chimera. We got Minka-esque. Yep. Another fundamental broken unit. Oh dear, this legendary. Why is there, like, seriously, just in general, why is there so much cost reduction stuff? Free stuff. Free stuff is not good. This should not be the faction identity. That's not a fun thing. Minka-esque. Your friendly infantry costs 1 less. Great. Now we play this, and then what would be normally a 9 energy turn to play like 2 3 energy drops is now your 7 energy drum because you played Minka less. This is not a good card. It should be... This is a 4 energy card, but it's cost free for some reason. The talent isn't really that interesting either. It's give +1 to your troops and reload their duty abilities. Like, yay. Great. Like, their duties. She doesn't even have duties, so she's not even undoing that. Brilliant. Like, maybe she could have duty. No, because that'll be broken as well. Yeah. For any infantries cost 1 less. No, it's a broken card, and for 3 energy, that's way too cheap. You can spam the board really hard with that. Like, if they make the change, let's say they make the change to KDS stands, so it generates a troop which costs shock trooper which costs 1 less in your hand, right? Let's say they make that change, because generating stuff for free is fundamentally broken. She would ultimately still allow for a broken play, which would allow you to play a whole bunch of shock troops on 1 turn, because you'll play this for 3 energy and then you'll play a whole those shock troops which cost 1 less anyway. With her ability, which makes them con less, which will make them 0, so you're able to get a whole bunch of shock troops down for free, which would be not good. That would be fundamentally another way to win the game. Like, all these ways, by the way, I'm talking about with all these cards are in themselves allows you to win the game on the spot. That's what they do. And this is just another thing which could allow you just to win the game on the spot because you split it out of hand. There's no counterplay. This is why I'm saying Orcs is the only counter faction, because they might able to do stuff with Will of a Gork if they manage to get both of them. But this is the only counterplay you've got, and yeah, it's not fun. It's extremely powerful, and yeah, it will just lead to problems. That's Minka-esque. We just... I'm not quite sure how I'd change it. I think this is what I'll change it. I'll make her 3/3 with 3 life. It's the fact that it gets really good stats and a really good body, and also a really good like ability at the same time. Why does it have both? Why does it have both? It shouldn't have both. Why do you have a really good body and a really good crazy ability at the same time? It doesn't make sense to me. Give her a weak body, then the powerful ability, so you can do some sort of combo play, but don't just make it so that you could play this on turn 3 and then you can start playing a 5 energy on turn 4 because they can't kill this unit because it's got 4 life. And if they do kill it early, they're at least taking 3 damage on a warlord or something like that, or they have to use one of their 4 energy. Like, for example, they play Chaos and they're playing Sport. What is it? Not Spawnedom. Well, Spawnedom would kill it, but they play what's it called? Forget the bugger. Possessed Marine. That's it. To kill it straight away. It's their only chance. Like, it's just another free energy play that they can make that they have to remove instantly on the spot. Like, all these plays, KDS stands, they have to have board wipes in their hand, otherwise they lose. If they may do the full throttle play, they have to remove it straight away. If they have Minka-esque, then they have to remove that straight away because that will lead to broken stuff which is going on. It's not good, and it's not going to be fun. The next unit which we need to talk about, I think, is the Vox Operator. Now, this is somewhat more in the combo play. With particularly, we'll get into another card for may need to be watched later sort of card, but it's the High Command, particularly refill all your energy. I wouldn't change this for now, but we'll get into that later, and things which might need to be changed in the future. The Vox Operator needs to change this. When you deploy a vehicle, give it flank. What you particularly get into is that, like, this is not optimal, but you can do this. The fact that you can do this is not good. You can play Vox Operator on your 6 energy play, so you get your Vox Operator, right? You then you then do High Command, refill all your energy. You're now back up to 6 energy, which you could then get into a Chimera. Now your Chimera has flanks, you can use duty straight away. So now you deploy 2 shock troopers. You already have KDS stands at this point with Ursula Creed, or just play the card like normally, because it's a really powerful card for just 4 energy anyway. The Chimera now just ponks down a whole bunch of guys, give them all 1 armor 1, they all have Vanguard, and it's now your next turn for 7 energy turn. Guess what? That's now flank, and it's going to be very difficult to kill that Vox operator, let alone the Chimera as well. Excuse me. Dear. It's a problem. And it's another card which needs a nerf. And it's gonna lead to so many annoying things. I get the point of it. It's meant to combine with long range, but it doesn't. Well, it does, but it's not how it's going to be used. It's going to be used on just broken things which are gonna destroy the game. And the final thing which is got is this one, the Furburn Vanquisher. I think it's Furburn. What? Why do we have another thing which is choose a troop in your hand, it lowers cost by 1? First off, why is it choose a troop, not an infantry troop? Secondly, why is it lowering it cost by 1? What is going on? Like, this is not what I want to see from the Imperial Guard. I don't want to see bloody energy cheats. I certainly don't want to see any more of them, and we've already gone over several of the energy cheats, which are breaking fundamentally the game, which is going to, and it's not going to be fun. And this is just another thing in their toolbox to break the game even further. Even if you don't have a great game, great play, like, you can play this, like, let's say you don't get the full throttle thing, and you didn't manage to generate a KDS stands in your first turn. You can Ursula Creed again, your water power, maybe create another full throttle or something. Great, you can save it for later, and then you can Furburn Vanquisher. Choose a troop in your hand, lowest cost by 1. Now this is the rapid redeployment for what I was saying. What I was saying to change full throttle to, but there's another card which does it. You get a body as well. It's not a great body, but this should be a stratagem almost. But you get a body as well, so you might as well have the body as well. Who cares? I wouldn't do what they've done here. I would straight up. So, at least make it infantry, right? At least make it choose an infantry troop in your hand, lowest cost by 1. Make it so that it's not just any troop, because that's fundamentally broken, and we don't need any more vehicle support at this point. I would change it so they gave it maybe a stat increase, give it +1 life or something like that. Just a small stat increase, because +1 life can really mean a difference on like certain vehicles, so they don't just die to a flank troop. Quite often flank troops have 6 attack at least, so bringing something from 6 life to 7 life, it could just be worthwhile with the Furburn Vanquisher. But they've decided to break this and make it cost less. If they're gonna do it, make it infantry, but I wouldn't even do that. So on to the second part, and these are things which we need to look into the future to potentially nerf as well, because these are fundamentally broken cards, I believe, and they weren't. They certainly remind me of things in the past which were broken, certain things which you can talk about, and then also they remind me of mechanics from HHL which are broken in that game, which we don't want to see either. So because there's a lot of things we can compare to HHL in this at the end of the day. It's not only the same developer, but it shares basic same mechanics, like, you know, the energy system starting at 2 going up. You know, you still got your attack values on your warlord, the HP value is roughly the same. You know, you got certain things which are fundamentally very similar to HHL, and I've seen that game ultimately, in my personal opinion, go downhill, and I really don't want to see it go downhill. So when I get into some of these cards, the first card, which is Armored Squadron. Armored Squadron definitely needs to be considered for nerf. The reason why is we saw this at the very beginning of Warforged. I think it was the beta time, when you had the Ultramarines, and they were, when you could have constructed decks, they were very much breaking the game. It was like armored, I think it was called Armored Support, the Ultramarines card. This is Armored Squadron, and Armored Support was a free NG card, yes, I do admit, but it did the same effect, and it made the vehicle cost 2 less. Armored Squadron is just the 4 energy version of that. So
excuse me, it might be that this is alright. This is why it's not on the must nerf now list. It's also because it's 4 energy and not 3 energy. It's also entirely plausible that this is a completely broken card, because same thing again, guess what, your 7 energy cards are going to be like really important as the Imperial Guard. This is what I've started to find out. So you're looking at your Lehman Russ tank, your Valkyrie, because these are the things which seem to be played on curve the most. And with Armored Squadron, it's just another card, another tool in their toolbox, which is really powerful. You play this on 4, you get a 7 energy card, reduce it by 2, so it's now a 5 energy card, and then you play next turn the 5 energy card, and that is a really good play. That is a solid play, playing a 7 energy card for 5 energy, as I say, the Lehman Russ tank. It's not quite the same as playing this on 3, however, using this to kill a Judiciar, absolutely, this will totally destroy a Judiciar and it won't be fun. So, yeah, armor support potentially needs a change in the future. It's just the -2 cost factor. It should be probably only -1. I don't see how else, if it needs a nerf, because this could, I mean, like, the other stuff was on a whole new level of broken. This is still potentially broken. So if it's gonna get nerfed, it's gonna have to be just -1 cost instead of -2 cost. And that's the only way to balance this. Next up, we're gonna do this, hopefully this part quicker. We're gonna talk about High Command. This potentially needs a nerf to like 5 energy. It could be a broken card. It's getting into that late game. I suspect just Imperial Guard at the initial release, if nothing gets changed, which it's gonna be terrifying. If nothing gets changed, Imperial Guard are able to kill you way before High Command is even relevant, to be honest. But if High Command is a thing, which will, I suspect it will, at 5 energy, it might need to get first to 5 energy. We did have a mechanic like this for the Custodians, which were a bit of a weaker faction on the whole, but they did have a 4 energy card, which in fairness they could have 2 copies of, so they could get it quite reliably. And it was a 4 energy card, and it did refill all energy. The only difference between this game and HHL is that HHL did cap out at 10 energy. It didn't keep on going beyond forever, you know. That's with HHL. This does cap out at... This, however, doesn't cap out at 10 energy. It goes to 11 and 12 and 13. So that is more and more energy High Command could be generating you than before in like HHL. So not only this is on a more powerful, stronger faction, this card in your hand could potentially just allow you to get even more stuff and be even more of a problem. It's not gonna be fun, let me put it at that. If it works out like the Imperial Guard. I think the other things, I want to see the other things get nerfed. If this is gonna be a need to nerf after that nerf, guess what, I'll change this to be 5 energy. I'm not doing this straight away, just because I believe, even though I believe this is a really powerful card, I don't think it needs it quite yet. Let's put it there's other things in the Imperial Guard faction which needs nerfing first, but this is definitely on the watch list. If I've named that correct, you got need to nerf now list, so the NNI, sorry, and the watch list, which this is part of. And so we're moving on to the next card, which is Siege Warfare. People know Desperate Defense from HHL. I wasn't back in the meta because I joined literally when the Desperate Defense meta was going on. I only started playing HHL then, so you know, knowing the meta and all that stuff, I wasn't too bothered about knowing it because I hadn't even had the cards yet to even play the game really. So it was just at that time I'd seen what I could do. Of course, I know about it, and I know the broken thing about it was it's 10 NG, you get 2 very high cost things into play. The only difference with Desperate Defense and this is that Desperate Defense did give them what was Vanguard in this game, frontline in that game. So hence with Siege Warfare, it's not quite the same, but you can just, well, the Rogal Dawns exist. Where are they? Here they are. Oh, here's Vanguard. Oh, you got Baneblade. Oh, it's next to your hero. Oh no, there's 2 Baneblades. Oh dear, your Warlord has armor 4. Oh, all my guys with 5 attack, which we're going to attack your Warlord and do 25 damage to face, only do 5 damage now. Oh darn, he does
24 damage back to my face. Well, how do I win this? Oh, I guess I have to just Will of Gork, I hope. You're getting the point. This could be a problem, really problematic card. The difference is that it is a 10 energy card, which means such plays like that is more plausible over like KD and stands and stuff like that. However, this could be a fundamentally broken card, and yeah, it's also draw 2 vehicles as well, so you can have all the infantry troops in your deck if you want. You can have all those infantry troops. It's a fundamentally like broken card, and then you can only have late game vehicles, and guess what? You're not able to get them, play them for free and do all this stupid nonsense. There's so many things you can do. There's this thing, it's like the Imperial Guard can win so many ways, and it's all with energy cheats, it's all with playing things way earlier, and this is like the ultimate like energy cheat, because you play this 10 energy and you get 2 10 energy cards, so you like get played 10 energy to get 8 to 10 energy for free. And that's the point, is that this is a broken card and this isn't fun. So yeah, this is definitely on the watch list. There's 2 ways you can nerf this. You can either say we make this 12 energy if it just happens too soon, which is entirely possible with some other cards and mechanics, which we'll get into in a moment. You can also just say we did with HHL, which is deploy a vehicle, but just 1 vehicle instead of 2 for 10 energy. So I think they deployed 1 vehicle for 8 energy. And unlike in HHL, where like people still do that but typically didn't because it was like everybody could do that as common, this will be an Imperial Guard thing, so you might even make that 7 energy, dare I say, if you change it to that, and it would be an interesting mechanic. But initially I would change this so that it's like an 11 energy card / 12 energy card. That's how I would change this if I was going to nerf it. However, it's on the watch list because it's not comparable to the other cards which need to be nerfed right now. Let's go into some cards now. We got this guy. This is the 4th card on the watch list. This is the Million Dross, Million, I don't care. It's not really the stats or the abilities. It's an 8/6 for 8 energy with 8 health. It's not amazingly great. The main thing is the regiment, really. Duty, your next trash room costs 5 less, is a very powerful duty ability, but it's kind of something you need on an 8 energy. It's like to justify it, because you can't play it straight away in theory. Use it straight away in theory. You have to somehow give this guy flank, which would require the Commissar Warlord, which would be an interesting cool play, and could do something maybe. But it's more the regiment draw card. You can just refill your hand with this. You got KD stands going, you got multiple infantry troops, low cost infantry troops played on the board already with your warlord and stuff like that. You go along attack with them. This guy's on the board. You're out of cards. This guy just refills your hand. Like the entire faction is playing cards to energy treat into other cards, and this guy just turns around and says, well, now you've made that play, I'm gonna play this guy, and now I'm just gonna refill my hand again as if I never played any cards. It's that regiment draw card effect. That is not good. That is not good for the game. That is not fun. And it doesn't need to be instantly nerfed, because you could just argue, well, if we remove all the energy cheat stuff and not be in a state where you can instantaneously utilize the effect, maybe the regiment draw card isn't as oppressive, which I admit, there could be a thing, and again, it could be balanced. So we need to wait and see if the other cards need changing after the other cards get changed, if this guy would need to change. How I would change him though, to make regiment draw card not a thing, I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I doubt it. Duty effect will be the broken thing. It's entirely possible though, because you can play it next turn and you can get multiple stratagems off and whatnot. So yeah, maybe the duty effect, but quite often I think you'd want to just attack with melee attack for 8 damage anyway, instead of playing duty. It's gonna surprise me if you use it'll be worthwhile, you see, instead of attacking. But it is another option you can do. So maybe just, I'm not quite sure how to nerf this card, to be honest. Maybe just cost more. I don't know. Maybe it'd make it less stats. I don't think that would really work, because you would still get the card draw off. Or the only other thing you could do is change the ability altogether. But this is definitely on the watch list because it could result in stupid gameplay. The next guy definitely is this guy. This guy is very powerful. He's just a tank, like a literal tank. He's an Ogryn. I know he's not a tank. I know he's an infantry. I don't care. He's a tank in my opinion. He's got 6 life with 1 armor and he's got 7 melee attack. To trade face with it with like veteran Stormboy, you're gonna do 6 damage. It's gonna die because it takes 7 melee damage, and then you still have to take 5 damage from your Warlord, and this is all for 6 energy. Thank goodness infantry troops can't be cost less, I don't think. Oh no, you got Mika. Yeah, you got her, don't you? Oh dear. You get the point. If I was to nerf this, you could either remove the armor, you can make it less life, you can decrease the range attack so that it actually has a weakness. Dare I say a weakness, everybody? And if it's the other effect, give vulnerable to your Warlord, you can make this just cost 2 energy. I think this talent is a very powerful talent. It just gets around like anything. If they try to go aggro against your face, against your Warlord, you can just make yourself invulnerable. For example, they could use double death from above if you're playing against Ultramarines. They try and get it removal. This guy just says, nah, that's not gonna work, mate. So making that 2 energy, so it's just a lot harder to get that play off. Maybe even make it 3 energy, because at that point, if your Warlord's invulnerable, who cares? Because you still, even if this guy goes along and attacks and dies, to whatever the heck, I don't know, maybe another Imperial Guard tank, right? You can still at least play this. And anyway, and so hence just 1 energy is probably a bit too cheap. That's how I'd potentially change him. Make him have weakness, maybe make him have, I know he's a legendary so he should be good, but maybe make renowned bodyguard to 3 energy, something like that. That would make him interesting. Next up we've got King Castellan on the watch list, and yeah, what is the thinking with this card? Because like, what is the downside with this card? Seriously, like, it's a 6/6 with 6 health and 6 energy for 6 energy, and it's an amazing ability of lower the cost of a friendly troop in your hand by 1. What is the thinking behind this? Like, where's the downside here? Is it the stats? It's not the stats. It's got 6 life. It's got 6/6 attack. That's very good stats for 6 energy cards. Is it the ability? No, the ability is really strong. Lower the cost of a friendly troop in your hand by 1. It's any troop. It's not just like vehicle or infantry. So like, it's just any troop. That's what I find problematic. It's a very powerful effect. And you can, with all those Cadians you're gonna start spawning, they all do range attack, kill themselves, because who cares? You need a space to be able to spawn more Cadians next turn anyway, right? So King Castellan is going to be like, well, that's a whole bunch of lower cost reduction, and that's going to happen every single turn. And you know, you get like 3 Cadians attacking your Warlord and maybe a tank, because you energy cheated that out into play, and that's like -5 cost on something. Yeah, that's not good. That's not a good thing. That's not a good mechanic. This guy needs a weakness. It's just a really solid, over the top 6 energy play. There's no weakness, there's no downside, there's nothing wrong you can go with playing with this guy. No matter how you play him, in what type of style or build you play him, he's just a really good study. So you either make him like 5/5 stats to make him weaker, so is it stats or weakness, like 5/5 or 5 life maybe, or maybe just 5/5, maybe like a 5/4 with 6 life, or you decrease regiment. And in fact, I would make him a 5/5 with lower cost of a friendly infantry troop in your hand instead, so that he actually has a purpose. He actually synergizes with this infantry build where you go wide with a whole bunch of infantry. He's trying to do that. He's not trying to decrease the cost of random vehicles you can have, which right now, by the way, you're going wide and you're playing big vehicles. That's the problem with this full faction. So yeah, that's how I change him. And then we're getting into, but we'll talk about this guy in a moment, but we need to talk about this guy first. It's just another energy cheat on top of all the energy cheats we've got already, and hence that's why we need to talk about him. Of course, right now as it stands, the best way to play him is definitely trying to get Commissar Dunker, probably, and then trying to use that entire build, but Ursula Creed is absolutely better. So maybe, but I think it, maybe not. This guy needs enough. Maybe this guy doesn't need enough, sorry. But it's definitely on that watch list where we're like, by golly, it's just another thing on top of everything else, right? It's the lower cost of all your vehicles in your hand and deck by 1. It's heal 2 to a friendly vehicle. You get the duty off. You basically get a 4-3 with 4 life, as well as doing, what is it? Armored superiority from the Ultramarines. Like, I thought the Ultramarines were like meant to be the energy cheat faction. These guys take it to a whole new level. They really do. And the engines here, just all your vehicles cost 1 less. Great. Like, how I would nerf him? I would make it maybe just all vehicles in your hand, maybe just deck, something like that. Just some sort of thing, so it's not just everything. If it needed nerf, of course, it's not the most egregious thing. You still need to somehow probably protect this guy, / you need to activate its duty ability straight away. You need some way to figure that out. But it is certainly on the watch list, because it could just need a nerf after the first wave of nerfs and seeing where Imperial Guard land in the meta, basically. Because the first things which are must now changes are the first wave of nerfs if I was in control of this. And then this is a card I would just nerf, potentially nerf later on if it's broken, and that's what leads to continue to Imperial Guard being a broken faction. This is certainly on the watch list. Consider nerfing. That's how I'd roughly change it. Let's go on to the last thing, which is Astropath. Now, of course, like other cards, it's really just the synergy, but Commissar Denker this is more play with Commissar Denker than Ursula Creed, but even Ursula Creed can absolutely use this, just because it is 4 life with a shield. That's at least 5 life. 5 life is a decent, but with shield, it means that it could be more than 5 life, and that's reality. So what is it? It's the duty effect, draw stratagem, lowers cost by 2. It's not even decrease the cost of a stratagem in your hand by 2, it's draw stratagem as well. So, you know, you're not losing any value by playing this guy, by the way. So, well, what, oh dear, I was meant to not do that. What broken stratagems could we be talking about? We could be Godspear Warhead, which I think is fine, by the way. I just want to put it, I think it's fine, I think it's pretty cool. However, this could also be on the watch list after, you know, other things get nerfed. But I think a more broken thing is Siege Warfare. Decreasing this cost by 2. As you know, what could be a really powerful play. I think this will be a decent stack anyway. I just think Ursula Creed is just going to be even more powerful, like way more powerful than Denker. But Denker could make a sort of like, which this is why it's on the watch list, because this could be also a broken thing that Imperial Guard end up playing anyway instead, which is Siege Warfare. And Siege Warfare is with Denker. You can get Denker to get Astropath into play. Astropath draws you your stratagem, lowers cost by 2, and then Siege Warfare now costs 8 energy instead of the 10, which we already said Siege Warfare is probably automatically a problematic card. You can also get other cards with this. For example, you get Cadia Stands. You can get Armed Support potentially. Credit card, it costs 2 less. You spend 2 energy, who cares, right? Like, you can get a lot of cards which are really good. You can get all these cost reductions. This is hence another potential card which could lead potential things to break the game. And I'm already like, I already know that this fundamentally faction is broken. So yeah, let's wrap this up. Let's get into afterwards talk. So right, we've now gone to the final stage of this, and I just wanted to say basically that I am, of course, as you can probably take from the video, I'm very concerned about this faction at the end of the day, and yeah, I don't think it's good for the game, and for the longevity of this game. This is why I've made this probably an hour-long video, to be honest, at this point, complaining about all the things which I think gonna get nerfed. And I was very much looking forward to this faction. I was really hyped, actually, until, well, recently, where I've seen some of the, like, literally probably just yesterday's previews. I was like, I saw some of the other cards. So, like, for example, I saw what's it called, a High Command, and I was like, that's a pretty cool card. I remember seeing that in HSL. It was a cool mechanic. So long as they don't get too many stuff going on, you know, this will be fine. And turns out, no, they had even more broken and problematic stuff than High Command. And yeah, like
I don't see why they haven't like learned basic things like when you have a warlord talent, don't create it so that it creates cards, particularly create, not even draw or create, I don't care. Don't do it where it also decreases the cost of that card by 1. They shouldn't be doing that. They should have never done it with Magnus, and they should have never done it with Creed. And these are fundamental changes which need to happen like really quickly. If I'm not going to be playing this season at all, to be honest. I skipped out on the Predator season. I still don't have like, what is it, forward deployment, whatever. It's not forward deployment, it's rapid deployment, I think it is. I still don't have that card. I don't think for the Ultramarines. It's one of the cards I don't have. I don't have a single copy of it. And yeah, it's not as good now, I don't think, I hope. But the Imperial Guard are like just, are they fundamentally, there's so many, like, since because of the amount of energy cheats, the amount of broken things they can do, the amount of consistency they can get, because if you don't get one of the broken cards, you're probably gonna get another one. There's probably the other broken combo. It's like you do all of these things at once, you see. And if I had to say anything on, like, I saw the stream with BJ and the Ecclesiarch, and well, it was kind of funny because we were complaining about it in the Discord and the chats and stuff, and they literally broke the game in front of our eyes, and we got to see it in faction, and it was completely what we predicted. So I don't know if you said this privately, BJ or Ecclesiarch, but I hope you have said it privately to Everguild, but that this faction is fundamentally a broken faction, and it is not good for the game for the long run of this game. It's really not. We cannot keep on getting factions like this. Like, when will Everguild learn? Because if they keep on doing it, like, I don't play HHL anymore. Why? Because it's not a fun game anymore. It's full of energy cheats, it's full of broken things, every single faction does it, it's all just Imperial Guard over and over again, repeat. And I imagine so many people did play the game and then they stopped playing it because they didn't want to play the game, because it wasn't a fun game. I mean, because they ruined it. It was full of energy cheats, it was full of broken mechanics, it was full of stupid things where it's just got stuff going out the wazoo, doing 30 damage in 1 turn and all this stuff, 20 damage in 1 turn, like stupid things like that. Like, and you get into this and this is what Imperial Guard are gonna be. They're not quite doing the 30 damage in 1 turn sort of thing yet, although then, you know, there's gonna be combos where you can do that with a big enough board, but then any faction with a big enough board can do that pretty much. What Imperial Guard do is guarantee you to have that big board every single time. You can just plop down your board, and then next turn you can plop down your board again, and then the turn after is, you know, not able to plop down the board again. I really think that is what Imperial Guard will do. It is a fundamentally broken faction because of it, and I won't lie, I was kind of a little bit disappointed with you, Ecclesiarch and BJ, that this is why I say I hope you mentioned that behind closed doors that this is a problematic thing, because it is a problematic thing. But I was kind of disappointed that you didn't say it on stream, and you weren't just like straight up like, this is not good for the game that this faction is being released right now. You're fundamentally gonna ruin this game, and you're not gonna make it fun for anyone to play it, because it's all just gonna be Imperial Guard. And I promise you, even with the ladder ranking system, it's gonna be it's going to be broken. Like, it's S plus or S plus plus. It's gonna be only counter matchups. Everybody's gonna be playing a counter matchup against Ursula Creed, no matter how you play it, or you play Ursula Creed herself, or Ursula Creed is gonna be so powerful, which I'm really hoping is not the case, but I wouldn't be surprised, like, at all. I think it's more likely she's so powerful that even the counter matchups won't be good enough to take Ursula Creed on, and it's literally just going to be Ursula Creed the meta. And this is why, like, I don't understand why they don't learn from their mistakes when they create legendary commandment warlord powers like this, which reduce the cost of stuff.
Like, they shouldn't have never have done it in Horus Heresy Legions, and it's coming to Warforged now, and it's going to ruin the game again. So please, like, if Everguild, if you want your game to succeed in the long run, like, I'm sure in the short term, I'm 100% short term, like, the people with money is gonna buy up the Imperial Guard very quickly because it's the only playable faction. Then they get all the Imperial Guard stuff, and then, you know, I'm sure you're gonna make money in the short term. And if that's what you wanted to do, to create all this work and effort and this player base just to create a short-term profit, then I guess, well, do what you're about to do. But if you actually want to make long-term income, because income, you know, you need to nerf this faction, and you need to not do this again, because this isn't fun. This is not going to be fun, and I don't understand why you haven't learned in the past, Everguild, that you don't do this. Like, you've done it several times over, and the player base have dropped every single time. I was playing consistently all the way throughout, and it was every single time it's harder and harder to get games. So yeah, that's my rant, I guess you could say, about everything which needs to be changed about the Imperial Guard before it even gets released. I'm like 100% about confident about the changes I've already said. They need to be changed, and yeah, I hope you make it soon, Everguild, because we're gonna find out, you know, we're gonna find out whether we're gonna be playing this in the next 2 or 3 years or not.